Hot damn, the queen is back. Listen, man, I don't know if y'all know. If y'all follow me on Twitter, you definitely know. Just Pearly Things, I admire her so much. From like a business aspect, it don't have nothing to do with her takes, but man, she knows how to make a conversation into a conversation. So this one, we got leftover women that are delusional. Hey, the queen is back.
So the question is, can you find a man that can stand next to me and deal with me?
Yeah, but
When
So-
you say that's your value, to who?
That's it.
but who's that? Yeah, who is
For
that?
me, I don't need
Right, that's
to
your
like
personal-
set.
Speak into the mic.
Like when you're selling something, she's talking about cars. When you're selling something, is you decide the value of your
No,
you
you
know
don't. The
items.
buyer
No,
does.
market
Yes.
The market
No,
does.
you don't.
So okay, that's like me saying, okay, I'm NBA, like an NBA player would
Vintage
wife me.
stuff, it
That's
can-
like
can
that's
still
like
be
okay,
sold.
stop interrupting me. That's like me saying that I can get a top 1% guy. So I would say I deserve a guy that makes $500,000. But none are lining up to buy me. Then I'm not worth that. That's your
Cool.
value. And
Cool.
so you can't just tell men, oh, I'm still just as
I
valuable.
don't need to tell nothing.
But you
to
just
no
did. You
one.
just went off
No,
on a
listen.
rant saying,
So
like,
I really.
you just
no,
said.
just
no.
said.
I
Yeah.
think you're not getting my
speaking
point.
about the
I'm
man
gonna
that
repeat.
approaches her.
I'm gonna repeat clearly. So I know very clearly what I want. Okay. Now, as you said, probably I'm not available, so I don't gonna get what I want. Cool. I stay by my own. I don't need a man. Like, oh, I get what I want. I guess I can just stay by my own. I don't need a man. I don't need have a child. I'm like a person. I'm not a baby machine. I'm not a. Do you know what I mean? Like. That's
Yeah,
my
that's
value.
fine, that's fine,
I
that's
stand
fine.
by my own.
For what
That's
you're
it.
saying, you don't sound very happy about that.
No, I just don't, I'm not very happy about how other women can think about our body and our essence.
It's not.
But it's not. No, but
I'm telling you what men want.
Yeah, but you can think in your way.
Let me say this because I think that point is probably the biggest point. I saw a tweet this week that said settling is like this strange comment that people make about like partners and things of that nature. You're not settling when you end up in a relationship or whatever. You're getting the best that you can get at that moment. And Pearly here talks about like the different age groups sometimes with like women and when they have the most perceived value, and same thing with men when they have the most perceived value. At different points in your life, you have perceived value by society, okay? And that's all she's telling this woman right here. If we're saying that men, and we're saying this, that there are a lot of men that want to have babies and want to start families and want to continue legacies and different things of that nature. You saying that you don't want to have babies and X, Y, and Z, you ruin your perceived value by other men in this world. So therefore, you're not going to be able to obtain the guy that makes X amount of money. And there might be somebody out there that doesn't want to start that family that makes X amount of dollars or whatever. Just know that your pool has gotten smaller. You're not settling. You're getting the best that you can get for your current state that you are in right now. That's all this is. If you want to take these things off the market, if you don't want to have babies, if you don't want to change your last name, if you don't want to move to X, Y, and Z place, if you don't want to work, you're changing your perceived value. The market for you is definitely changing. Your dating pool is changing. So when you're not able to, I don't want to say like cooperate, but if you don't want to compromise, and this goes for men and women, if you don't want to compromise, then just know you won't be settling. You will be getting the best that you can get for what you got going on right then and there.
And that's perfect.
It's not. No. I've
That's
talked
perfect.
to thousands of men.
Yeah, cool.
Over the
I'm
but
sure men approach her, and then she's saying the value that she brings to the man that is approaching her, whether he chooses to go to her or wants a 20, whatever. Obviously, he's approached her, so he likes her. So that's the value that she brings. That's the point.
But
she's trying to
I'm
make.
saying I've never talked about you guys. I don't know
No,
you.
but we're
guys.
talking about our.
But I'm
We're
saying-
talking
but
about.
no. But the question is that fair to expect monogamy? So
No,
I'm
no,
saying
no.
over a certain age, you're less valuable to
Yes.
men. And then as soon as I say that, you guys get triggered.
No. I'm
And
just
you
going
and you
back to
and
the-
you guys you keep interrupting.
just
This is and so I'm saying that if you're going to men and telling them what they should value. And every time I say this is what men value, you keep arguing with it. Then you want to say, well, what are my best years? This, and this.
I get that, but I'm just saying, she asked the question and said that this girl said she's 30, and then you said you're 30. So when you get to 30, you made it personal about her.
But
so
I
that's
know it-
why.
No, but
no,
listen,
Sorry, I don't know
I said
auntie's
it.
name. That yeah, she said once she gets to 35, and then her eggs, blah blah blah. She asked her something personal about her. So that's why it got personal, because you made it about
honestly,
her. So that's why she was talking about herself and not saying that you expect all men to accept this value, blah blah blah.
No,
The
but-
point is, if a certain man approaches her and this is the value that she gives or she brings, and the guy doesn't want it, then that's fine. I can understand that you're saying that this is men want X, Y, Z, men want whatever you said from a certain age or whatever, as if to say no man approaches a 30 or 35-year-old woman when there's two 30-year-old women sat here who men approach. That's the point.
Yeah,
Well, but there's a
like that.
difference between like forced set, like it doesn't count unless you get a ring. None of it counts.
Yeah.
It doesn't count. Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
fine,
You can
fair
be
enough.
approached, your number can be taken, your Instagram can be got. But if you're not being kept, it doesn't matter.
Fair
you
enough.
can tell any man, I get moved to 10 times a day. Cool. All right. Do you have a man? No.
maybe we don't have a man because we don't want men like the majority of the men. So
Okay.
it's not about you.
That's not what he's saying, though. That's not what he's saying, though. She's missing the point. She's triggered already. You can see it in her like complexion. She's definitely getting redder and redder as this conversation goes on. She's taking it personal, and I'm not saying this about like too many people, because there are sections of people in the world that definitely have decided, hey, I'm gonna end up alone. I'm not worried about this. Those nights are lonely though. And the misconception that the dating pool is just so vast, even with the internet, and even if you live in a big city and all these things, the dating pool is so vast. I can guarantee you the amount of people that have values that align with what you have going on is very, very small. That you find attractive, that you find are religious like you, that you find have the same work ethic as you, the same goals that you do, aspirations, all these things, the same values that you do. I promise you it's smaller than you think. And if you're not willing to compromise on some of these things, then I can guarantee you you'll end up a pretty lonely life. And you can fill it with all these different things like friends and work and all these things. Those things are not fulfilling though. Those things are just not fulfilling at all. Simple.
Taking women is about we like each other, we find the
Right.
match. So
Okay.
you cannot talk about women as someone they've been taken.
Yeah, but again,
so
So girls,
I can.
girls, so here it
As
is.
it
I
was-
learned something today, yeah?
Yeah.
Auntie, me and Auntie had a conversation. Auntie explained to me, I said, are you in a relationship? She said, yeah, I'm in a relationship. And I said, does that mean you're not part of the 35 and over leftover women, which was a topic that we were speaking about at the time? And she went, I'm still part of that category. And I said, I don't get it. Like, you're in a relationship. You've made it. And she went, no, I haven't got a ring. So I'm still a part of that category. And I didn't get it because I was like, why? You're in a committed relationship.
Well, actually,
Technically,
Well,
essentially,
because-
I'm in a committed relationship,
Yeah.
but I'm a leftover. Or I'm a leftover
that's
in a
it.
committed relationship.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah.
And that's what I actually said. And even when you was talking about the value, the difference with now is that, yeah, at 25, I was hot. Do you know what I mean? I was hot, slim, hot.
You still.
And that's,
Yeah, you are.
That's fooling myself.
No.
No.
No, I
You know
don't.
what? I look hot for somebody at 53. Do you know what I mean? But I ain't fooling myself that I look as hot as I am at 53 as I did at 25. I'm just the exception.
Different.
Is that the same man that I was with at 25 is the same man that I was with now? Do you know what I mean? But other than that, no.
I'm
I
not
wouldn't
agreeing.
say that.
I'm
And
not
I'm not
agreeing.
fooling myself to say that. You know what I mean? I was lucky enough that he had my best years. And he still got my best years. And I had his best years. But at the end of the day, I can't turn around and say I'm better off at anybody else at 53 because
We not
anybody
say
else
that.
at 53 must have got a wedding ring on, they've been married or something like that. But at the end of the day, if it weren't for a fluke, I'm just like everybody else.
Yeah, we
I'm a
are.
leftover in a committed relationship.
She's been.
And that's what women fail to realize that, yes, before you think about, oh, I'm going to be single, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that, you got to think to yourself, you know what? Because before I started thinking like that,
She's been.
I was like, you know, I've got to get my pension. I've got to get my own house. I've got to get the house done in case I'm disabled. I've got to get my will, got to get my LPA, because just in case you end up on your own. And you know something? 32 years, and I'm still got that mindset, you know what? Because I'm still leftover, because I've still got to think like that. So I ain't going to think to myself, yeah, I've been with the guy for like 30-something years. I got to still think like that, you know what? Because I got no security.
but
there's
you
no
do-
ring on my
you're doing
finger.
the right thing
so I'm going to
because-
fool myself and say I've got the same worth to him as I was years ago, or I look, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, you're hot. Come on, 53.
No.
Great.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, she's spitting. I don't know what's going on in her relationship. It's working for her. The fact that they've been together for like 30 years and they're not married is insane. Fight it as much as you want. Marriage brings a level of security and, you know, different benefits that people just don't recognize. She's talking about securing her own pension because she won't have a husband to, you know, and both of them can possibly reap the benefits of the rewards of the marriage. And that's a scary thought. I don't know what they had going on that she's not married 33 years later. With that being said, she's spitting. And this is what I mean about compromise. People have got to come together to blossom and grow and prosper under a unity as opposed to trying to do things separately. And I'm glad that she pointed out the fact that, hey, I can sit here and be delusional all day long. And there are some people who are delusional. I know she probably knows people who are delusional, but she also knows people who got security because they knew that this day would come. They knew that there would be a day when they don't look as good as they were. They don't bounce back like they did. They're not in the same money-making opportunities as they once were. They can't travel like they did. They're not as flexible. Maybe they got ED. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the cat done dried up, all these different things. And they're looking at it today like I should have built something because my most valuable years are behind me. And we can sit here and perceive 53 years old. Like she said, she's hot for a 53-year-old woman. She is slender for a 53-year-old woman. She is good for a 53-year-old woman. I haven't seen her move yet, but she looks like she's moving fine. She's mentally sharp, all that stuff. But you would sit there and lie to yourself if you think that once you get to specific ages and phases in your life, your prime years are behind you, and you probably should have taken advantage of your prime years and secured something as opposed to trying to get it down the line.
You know, I think we.
So the goal is marriage then, is
The
that?
goal should always be marriage because that's
Okay.
when you know a guy is committed to you. And that's what I said. You can be a woman for today. I was talking the other week and I was saying, a man can be with you for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, whatever. So there's a ring on your finger, he's not committed to you. He can step out.
So you said
Facts.
you've been with the same person that you've been with since you were 25?
No, before that, yeah.
Since you were before 25?
Yeah.
And did you have kids or
No, we got 2 separate children.
you've got two, so you've not had kids together?
No.
Since you were...
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Look at
So
you.
I can go around and say, oh, yes, when I was 35, I look really good and we could try and have children together. Come on, by the time you're 35, you think to yourself, yeah, I could have had a kid at 35 with him. But then you got to think to yourself, hang on, how old am I going to be when the kid goes nursery? How old am I going to be when I'm going to go and pick up my grandkids now. I don't want to be going picking up my child and they're saying, who's that? Is that your grandma? No, it's my mummy. And then nowadays you're thinking about secondary school and university. I don't want to be 70 years old and going to picking up my child and say, oh, yeah,
Well,
they
and you're-
graduate.
And you're playing with fire because the average, if you want to freeze your eggs and go that route like that, it costs like $25,000. There's no guarantee it'll work. The average person can't afford that.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking it's interesting because you said you were together from before you were 25. So what, like 22, 23?
About that, yeah.
About 22, 23. And then, but you were in the, like you guys said, the best years of your life or whatever and still didn't have
I'm
kids.
still having them.
Sorry, you're still...
I'm still having them.
No, I'm just going by what these guys
I'm saying
said
by
here,
the
that
worth, by the worth.
From the, they said
Because
that...
I wouldn't have a child from 35 onwards. So according to a man, if a man wants to have a child and that would have been the time to have a child then. Not like 30. Because by the time 30 comes, we're like, forget it. You know what I mean? Forget it.
I think what she's saying though is also getting important. Listen, women's eggs do dry up. You produce less eggs after a certain point of time in your life. Men do start to experience a bunch of different things with their semen at a certain point in time in your life. And if both of y'all are living lifestyles in which you are hurting what people would deem as valuable traits, one, don't try to seek it later on in life. It's just going to become more expensive. And two, just be willing to accept that you become less valuable. Simple as that.
I'm putting my body through that.
By according what say your name again.
KB.
KB. He said, especially when a woman has a child with before, that's the best year also because there's a very strong and close relationship between your baby dad and yourself, right? So, but you are actually just showing that that's not true. So
Yeah,
because
No, the difference
'cause you
is,
could have
that
had
you don't know
kids.
my story. The difference is that I had an abusive relationship. That's why I've got no hang-ups.
Oh,
So
no,
there's
I
a
didn't know
completely
that, sorry.
difference. If
Yeah.
it was a happy relationship and I had my son and we left, that'd be different. But number one, I was on contraception when I had my son, so he wasn't planned. And because of that reason, that's why I decided to have one child. because I would say 1 is a mistake, 2 you can say is an accident, 3 is careless, 4 and above your what list. So as far as I'm concerned, I had 1 out of wedlock, and that is it.
Yeah, but anyway, you had a child, and your partner evaluate you anyways as a valuable woman. So he actually spent after the best here with you.
In this scenario, though, I
So,
wouldn't
you know
judge
what I
her.
mean?
The monogamy
Do you know what I
there,
mean?
or-
This is
Is she
just the
compromised?
proof.
Yes, he spent the best
This
years
is
with
just
me. I
the
agree
proof
with you.
that what you guys saying, it doesn't have
No.
any
No, no,
value.
But the exception to the rule does not make the rule, though. If she's saying that her having a child doesn't make her less valuable, the exception to the rule does not make the rule. Great, she found somebody. Not taking that away from her. That is fantastic. If you're being realistic with yourself, though, it's quite a miracle that she found somebody at 22 who also had a child from a previous relationship. So we can also say that their value is adjusted, perceived by society. We can say that it's kind of great. She should be really grateful that she found somebody who, I have a child from a different situation. Are you willing to accept me and my child? As long as you're willing to accept me and my child, both of those people should be grateful for what happened. But don't think that this is something that you can do and make all these exceptions to rules and just the common sense that's in society. It just does not work like that. I'm not going to call you a leftover woman. I'm not going to say that you're on the verge of that, but I'm not going to lie. Based off of society's perception of you, your value decreases day by day. Your dating pool gets smaller and smaller. And by dating pool, I mean a serious dating pool for relationships, not just, oh, let's have some sex, or let me get your number and let me see if you're giving me head, or whatever the case may be. And if you decided that you want to be by yourself, that's perfectly fine. I don't got no problem with that. But if you want to be with somebody and you think that you can continually year after year after year add stipulation after stipulation after stipulation after stipulation and see that your dating pool gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and you still think you're going to find success, we got to be real with ourselves. But hey, I'm probably wrong, you know.